Your parents' relationship. How does it affect your relationship? That's today's question on the Mars Mindset. The show is brought to you by patreon.com/IamChellsX. You can subscribe there for exclusive content, or you can go to IamChellsXstore.com for inspirational merch, apparel, and more. So, how does your upbringing and what you saw as a kid between your parents affect your relationship now? Let's get into it. Let's bring someone in, have a conversation.
Hey,
Aaron, how you feeling?
I'm all right. Sorry, I'm not really done up right now.
It's all good. You're a beautiful soul. That's all that matters.
You too. Thank you.
I appreciate you. How's everything been? How was your holiday weekend? How's everything been going? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Well, funny enough, I ate more food yesterday than I did all the holidays
Why is that?
because I have a popcorn problem.
You addicted to popcorn?
I went all for the popcorn. I was really tired out. I put up lights in my room and in my living space a little bit. So that's my way of decorating for this time of year. And I kind of just like to leave them up for till January because everything was just so gross outside. I need a little sparkle.
Oh, okay. So before we get into it, what's your favorite kind of popcorn?
Okay. Smart Pop, white cheddar.
Smart Pop White Cheddar. Huh. Put it in the microwave, or is that the one you put on the stove and you do the little thing with?
No, you just buy it. Just buy it in the store.
Oh, okay. Oh, you talking about the smart food one in the little black bag?
Yes, the smart food one. You're right. A smart food, not Smart Pop. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. They had it on, like I've always liked it, but I remember some of my friends saying, oh, they have it on Weight Watchers. And I'm like, well, I'm sure I'm eating way more than I'm supposed to, than I'm on Weight Watchers.
I have it as a snack every once in a while at work. Yeah, it is pretty good. But Aaron, let me ask you this. How does your parents' relationship or your upbringing affect now? In what ways do you think that affects your relationship?
So I just want to let you know you're freezing just a tiny bit, but I'd like to try and answer that.
Okay, well, we just carry on. I got the screen recording going. Hopefully it doesn't stop.
Okay.
I might have to fix it, but it's all good.
So I come from a two-parent family. They've been married for 40 some years now. They got married older, and I'm an only child. I would say most of my friends have not come from a two-parent family, and it does definitely affect, you when you're younger. And because, of course, like if you're a single parent, there's different stresses. And then I think your child will see what you're going through more. It doesn't mean like I always kind of observed it because I was really more of an observer as a kid, so I would always notice different things. I think one time I told my parents, if you ever want to get a divorce, that's fine with me. Because most of my friends' parents were divorced. I'm like, it's okay. No, we can have two houses, and that was more of a kid answer. But it does
Right.
affect relationships because I mean, it's it's hard if you haven't grown up seeing two people together. It's hard if you're seeing one person and like you're having your mother or father date someone for long periods of time and you're getting attached to them. Like it's hard to see like how to have a relationship that lasts, I would say, when two people aren't together. I'm surprised. Well, I'm not surprised, but my dad's parents married young and got divorced, and his brother got divorced also from his first wife, got married young, got divorced, but he didn't for some reason. He had other things to do. So I think it definitely also has to do with how young you are when you get married, because you think some people, not everyone, some marriages work out great when you get young. You don't have all the baggage of multiple relationships, right? But
Right.
but you don't know everything that is to come all the time, and it's you've got a different mindset when you're 20 versus when you're 40. you know
Yeah.
so there's so many different factors. I still think that people that are children of divorce can have just as healthy relationships as anybody else can, because I've seen it happen. I believe it can happen. But growing up, it's definitely seeing different things.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I had both my parents, so I don't really know what the split household is like for a kid. My oldest daughter never lived with me, so she kind of knows. But I guess I would imagine that it kind of depends on how you take the positives and use that moving forward, right? And then take the things that you didn't like and try to do the opposite, but not extreme opposite, and then just try to make it work for you, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's also hard, like, because I mean, sometimes there's the two parents in different households, but other times you've just got one parent. Like, you don't have your other parent, and
Right.
that's even more of a challenge to grow up with, I think. If you have like multiple siblings, that puts so much pressure on that one parent to take care of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's a lot to see. I think it actually makes a child grow up faster than they should, and perhaps they have to raise themselves in some ways, which is not the best thing, really, but it's a challenge.
Yeah, I know. I know. For me, like we had some issues when I was born in '82, so maybe around when I turned 4 is when I kind of realized that you know, like my parents weren't perfect or weren't superheroes, and you get that dose of reality like really early on, and it makes you think, wow, so life isn't all cupcakes and rainbows, and so it helps to a degree because you don't have unrealistic expectations.
Yeah,
But as a kid, it's still a lot to. You're not really equipped mentally or emotionally to handle some of the stuff that you see.
right,
So
right. I think it's funny, even from like coming from the two-parent family, it's like, no relationship is perfect. Everybody has their quarrels. It's like, I guess it depends, watching my parents over my lifespan, it's been like, oh, okay, well, I kind of see what their dynamic is. For me in a relationship, I like certain things about their dynamic, but other things that I'm totally different about. And I like that because, you should be you in a relationship, but you do grow up seeing certain things. Of course, there's like certain values instilled in you, and that can change if you want them to, but I think you have to really be open-minded about it or thinking about it if you really want something to change that might not be working for you.
yeah, you gotta. It's almost like you gotta deprogram, right?
Mm.
Because you say as a kid is the norm. Real quick, hey, Crown of Grace 2. I tried to bring you in, and when I try to bring you in, it says, give me 1 second, I'll tell you exactly. It says Crown of Grace 2 must upgrade app in order to join. So you
Oh,
gotta upgrade your app and then come back in. So let me know when you upgrade it, and then when you come back in, press the little camera with the plus button in it, or just press the little circle with the plus button in it, and I'll get you in here. So you grew up with your mom. You predominantly stay with your mom.
I'm with both my parents.
Oh,
Yep, yep, both of them. Yeah, I've come from the two-parent household. No, I jokingly told them when I was a kid, if you want to get a divorce, you can.
oh.
Yeah.
Were they beefing that bad? Were they arguing?
No, I was
You
just
just
like,
messing with them.
I was trying to be understanding. I was like, look, all my friends have come from two parent, like they're divorced. All my friends' parents are divorced. They were when I was little, and they seemed happy. And I was like, if it has to happen, then I'm okay with that. But what's really interesting is, I know I've said it on one of your lives before, but from the time I was 18, I made friends with so many divorcees. I have barely gone to any weddings, and I'm, in my mid to late 30s now. And I wish I had gone to some weddings. My gosh, it is sad sometimes. I mean, I get why stuff has to end sometimes, and it's necessary. It sucks. I wish that people wanted to work out their problems more often, but yeah, just I can't believe how many divorcees I've met in my life. It kind of was a wake up call to me, and I'm like, I was in a long relationship for a while, like 8 years, and I was kind of getting the vibe of, oh yeah, maybe I want to be with this person forever, but I was 17 when I met them, and I think eventually I'm like, yeah, there's a reason I'm meeting all these divorces, like so I don't get married right now.
Okay. So you want to be married now?
I would like to get married in my lifetime.
Oh,
Yeah.
you think you're ready for it?
Not this
I don't think any honestly, I don't think anybody's ever like 100% ready. I
I
think we kind of like find somebody that we like enough and
yeah,
we and hope for the best. And
yeah.
50% of us, I guess in America, 50% of us jump to the wrong planet. And the other 50%,
Mentally, I think I'm ready to commit to somebody else. I do
uh,
have a boyfriend. I do have a boyfriend, but I'm not saying I want to get married now. But mentally, yeah, I could definitely see myself getting married in the next couple of years if I wanted to. Uh, but other reasons, probably not the best time right this minute.
okay. So you just gave me another topic for later on this week. What are some reasons to not get married?
Well, you know what? I've actually said stuff about that in in the relationship. A lot of not just marriage, but a lot of relationships. It doesn't. When you get in a relationship, it does not mean you have to be in a stable place in life. There's so many relationships that, they want a stable relationship, but I mean, look at the way jobs are these days. Like things are crazy. You might be switching jobs in 2 years, 5 years. Uh, you don't know. But that doesn't mean you can't have a stable relationship with that person. Doesn't mean you can't plan together with that person. I still think that you can. And I've seen people work through really hard times. Doesn't mean it's fun, but I believe it if you want to be in that relationship, then you're in it, you know.
Yeah, I think it takes dedication and effort. So those are the two main things. And like open communication, transparency, grace.
Yeah.
All that. What's that C word? Compromise.
Mm-hmm.
All of those good things. But I think if you have two people who genuinely want to stay together through thick and thin, they can. Like, because it's still, at the end of the day, it's still a choice. So if it's nothing extreme happening, if no one's getting physically abused or anything like that, or it's really bad, and you got two good people just trying to work through something, then you can stay together. It's not as difficult to stay together as people make it out to be, in my opinion. It just takes effort and work.
I
So
agree. I agree.
yeah.
Right.
But I appreciate you, Aaron. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you too.
I'll let you slide off, and I wish you all the best. And I hopefully one day you're gonna post something in your stories that says my wedding date is whatever this is.
I will be doing that.
Okay, you say you will.
Positive reinforcement.
Positive. Forward to it. All right, Aaron. We'll holler.
All right, take care.
All right, peace.
Hey, Chels.
Dr. Huck.
What's up?
So before we jump into it, Dr. Huck, I gotta do a couple what do they call it? I don't know, informational announcements, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Okay, so I forgot to do this at the beginning, and maybe that's a good thing because Finn unplugged the Wi-Fi. So at the beginning of this, for those of you who subscribe to the Patreon, the beginning of this probably won't have the comments, but everything from 5 or 6 minutes in will. Our good friend Dr. J is going under the knife today. She texted me this morning. I haven't talked to her since, so I know she was supposed to do it on Friday, and they moved it to Monday. So if you could please keep our good friend Dr. J in your thoughts and prayers.
Absolutely.
That's our buddy. That's our friend. Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Hawk, how you feeling?
Yes, I'm feeling good.
I haven't talked to you in like 4 to 5 days. It feels weird.
I know, right? Yeah.
So, how would you say that your parents' relationship or lack thereof affects you and your marriage today?
My parents, I think that my parents had they divorced when I was maybe 10 or 11.
Okay.
And I want to say that they had a good co-parenting situation that I think positively impacted me. Like, I didn't know until I was an adult. Like my mom never dogged my dad. My dad never said anything about my mom. But I think it wasn't until I was an adult that my mom started kind of giving some insight as to why they separated. So, and I think too, like I would go to my dad's house and my mom's house. It's crazy because we lived in Chicago. We moved here when I was about nine, and I want to say it was a good year or a year and a half that I didn't even know that my parents had separated or divorced. Because,
How?
so, all right, I'm gonna tell you.
Were they still living together? Like he live upstairs.
Yeah. So when we first moved to Philly from Chicago, like my dad was in a house with us, but it was weird because they did have like separate beds, but in the same bedroom. But I'm young, I still don't know because we moved into a smaller house than what we had in Chicago. But then my dad went to live with my grandmother, and like all my older siblings would tell me, "Oh, that's because he's going to take care of Grandma Aisha." Like that's why he moved to go and take care of Grandma Aisha because she was getting older, she was getting sick, and that's his mom. And that's where we would go, like every weekend and all of that. Until my mom had this boyfriend, and I was like, "Wait a minute." That's what I found out. I said, "Who this man, Harpo?" So yeah. But
So,
it was a good situation with them, I would say, with the co-parenting. Like even like my mom, because I never said this on like the previous one. It was different because like my dad was kind of like a house husband when we lived in Chicago because he was self-employed, but he worked from home, and my mom was in school, worked two jobs. Like, so I didn't see my mom as much as I did my dad. But when we moved and my dad moved out, that dynamic kind of changed. So
so
yeah.
as you were coming up, right? Would they attend like any of your, I don't know, like honor roll assemblies or like anything that you had going on? Would they both be there? So you
They
had.
would they would both be there, and even to the point where they would both be there, even if my mom's side of the family had something, my dad would be there and vice versa. So it wasn't like, like every Thanksgiving and Easter, my
Your phone.
dad was there. And you
Go
got
ahead,
me
you
back,
good?
my son.
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead, you good?
So like everything's, am I here? You
Yeah,
hear
you
me?
good? Yeah, we got you.
Okay. So every Thanksgiving and Easter, my dad was there, like, so it was different. It wasn't
Mm.
like it was a different situation. Like my mom family still considered my dad, family, and vice versa. So
Okay, well, I'm glad that you got to experience the co-parenting aspect that wasn't contentious, because I think when it's bad, that joint ruins people sometimes, and it ruins
mm-hmm.
outlook. Crown of Grace, how are you?
I'm all right.
Welcome to the show. This your first time.
Yeah, it is. Good
Okay, cool.
evening.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I'm
Let me
Chell.
slide. I'm sorry. Let me slide off real quick. I'll get back on.
All right, come back when you're ready, Dr. Hope.
All right.
Let's see. So what should I call you?
Crown of Grace.
Crown of Grace. Okay, Crown of Grace. So my
Yeah.
question for you and everyone else who's coming on, because someone else is in the queue too, and I got you in a second, is how has your parents' relationship or lack thereof affected you, and more specifically your relationship or relationships, in the present?
Okay. Um, Let me start with like the country I'm from, Nigeria. Mostly my village. before anybody gets married to you, they'll first of all look back to know how the family is. Now, I grew up in a family whereby I watched my dad beat my mom up. So it was crazy. I was little, but I still remember everything. I was like 5 years or thereabouts, but I still remember everything. Like the whole thing is still fresh on my head. Then they separated along the way when I was 7. When I was 6, yeah, 6. Coming up now, like we didn't really feel it because we were with mom, so we didn't really feel it. Now that we are all grown up, it's time for us to get married. Anybody that comes around will be like, where's your dad? Like, where's your dad? Like, nobody wants to marry someone that his dad is not in the picture. Like, they pay bride price, and nobody will come to your mother's people to come and pay your bride price. I don't know if you get me.
I understand what you're saying in terms of you're saying it's more people don't really want to be in a relationship with someone whose father wasn't in the picture, right? That's
Yeah,
and but the reason your father wasn't in the picture was because he was abusive to your mom, right?
yes,
Okay.
exactly.
So that being the case, have you are you married now? Have you been married? Have you had long-term relationships?
No,
Are you still in
no.
Nigeria or you in America now?
I'm still in Nigeria.
You're in Nigeria right now.
Yes,
So
I
I'm talking
am.
to you from the United States and you're in Nigeria. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so.
Uh, so how do you, let me ask you this. How do you deal with that, right? How do you, because I don't know the culture in Nigeria in comparison to America. So how do you
Do you
deal with the fact that
Do you know
people,
the funniest part of it? Like, my mom never told us anything about it till she didn't even know that we had, like, we know everything that happened. So till I think that was last week. Yeah, I traveled home because of that. That was last week. She was going to a court. Like, my dad sued her that he wants his kids back. When he stayed away for good good 20 24 no 22 years, I think 22 or 21 years now, he stayed away. He didn't give anything, like no child support, nothing. He just woke up from nowhere and was like, let me tell you, it's like 200,000 would be like, how much in your money? It would be like $200. That's what he said he have to pay for the child support.
but he never paid
For 5, we are 5 of us, all graduates.
$200 a month for 5 people, for 5 kids?
Not 200 a month, like for the whole year,
Two,
mom took care of us. Seriously. And
oh,
he
wow.
has to pay. Like, the whole thing is just crazy because he knows that now people are coming to ask for a hand in marriage and we can't, there is nothing we have to do about it.
So
So
let me ask you this. So in your country, it's customary for the guy to ask your father for his daughter's hand in marriage?
does he do what? Sorry, didn't get you.
So in your country, is in Nigeria, is the guy that's interested in you supposed to ask your father for your hand to marry you?
Okay, I'll answer your question.
Do you
The thing,
understand? I want to make sure you
yeah,
understand.
yes,
Okay.
I do. I understand. Okay, you know, over here, they believe that father's blessing is needed. That's their belief. But my dad's uncle was like, "Don't worry, even if your daddy is not in the picture, I don't care. I can still be your daddy. I've always been your daddy." Do you understand? But he was like, "If you do that, I'll kill you." Blah 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 blah, and
Hold
everything
on.
that he was
So
saying.
your uncle, is this your mother's brother?
Yes,
Your mother's brother is he say
yes,
he'll give the blessing.
yes.
And your father was like, nah, if you do that, I'll kill you.
Okay, yeah.
Now, okay, so we gotta make sure we're is he serious or is that just kind of a way of saying that I'll beat you up?
He's he's serious. Like, he's serious.
Okay,
Like,
I got
for
one more
real.
question for you. I got two more questions for you. And then hold on, my wife says so you're saying that no one can ask for your hand in marriage because your father isn't present and they cannot pay for you. Is that what you're saying? Like,
Not like nobody can. Like, people think in a different way. Like, if I happen to meet someone, a guy that thinks that father's blessing is not needed, yes, I can get married. Like, I can just get married, go to my mom. My mom will bless us, and that is it. But over here, everybody thinks that daddy's blessing is needed. That's just it.
Yeah. So that's just the culture. Okay. So I got one more question for you.
Okay.
What is your plan since you have to since you're in this situation? Like, are guys trying to take you out, or guys trying to date you, and then they get to the point like, well, she doesn't have a dad, so I can't ask, or how are you
God,
gonna deal with
it has not been easy. Like my elder sister is 29. I think, yeah, she's not married. So me, I told them like it's not for me because I'm leaving. Like I can't stay here. If I happen to leave the country, get married to whoever I want, I'm not coming back.
it?
That's just my decision. Yeah.
Okay, so I know I said one more question, but I got one more, and then I'm gonna let you slide off. Okay, if you can move to any country on planet Earth and find a husband, what country would you move to?
Well, I was planning on moving to US or Canada, but they are not giving visa. So I don't know for now. Like I'm just saving up for it. Maybe one day they will change their mind and start giving visa. That's it.
Okay, Julie, my good friend Julie said don't come to the U.S., and she's pretty much saying that because she feels like there aren't enough men for all of the women here already, and they don't want you to come over. So I guess that's. But I do wish you all the best.
Thank you.
If you don't follow me, make sure that you follow me, and I'll follow you back. Yeah,
All right.
I'm so happy I got to talk to you today. That's what's up. Before you go, Dr. Hope, you have anything to say for Crown of Grace from Nigeria?
No, I'm just, happy that she joined and listening to hear her story. It's always good to hear from a different perspective, and it's it's interesting. Thank
Okay.
you for sharing.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
I'm
And
here.
I'm listening to yours too. What did you say?
I said I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, around 5:30, 5:45. So you're more than welcome to come on the show anytime you like.
All
Okay?
right. Thank you. All right. All right. No
All right,
problem.
appreciate you.
Same here.
All right. Give me 1 second, Dr. Hope.
All right.
Are you doing giveaway? Let me come on live. Okay. I'm not presently doing a giveaway. However, I do have an idea for a giveaway. Once maybe I get to, this is just premature, but maybe I have 6 people subscribe to my Patreon. And maybe once I get to say 10 people, I'll do some type of giveaway where someone can win 2 free life coaching classes with me. So y'all go to the Patreon, subscribe to the Patreon. When we get to 10, then I can do the giveaway. If you want to come on the live and discuss the topic, you're more than welcome. If you want to talk about the giveaway, go to the Patreon. Let's see who else we got in here. Sonja, let's get Sonja in here, and then we can let me see if I can accept it. So Dr. Holt,
Yes.
hello, how are you?
Hi.
It's nice.
Move out of the light. You move into the light. I'm Sonia.
It's nice to meet you, Sonia. Is
Thank you.
it Sonia or Sonja?
It's actually Sonia because it's spelled with a J. That's why I'm actually Sonia with a J, so people will say it correctly.
Okay. Well, my government name is Marchello, so my name has been getting slaughtered since the beginning of time. So I apologize if I said your name wrong, Sonia.
You did not. You did not. I am going to come in from an older lady's perspective.
Okay.
My parents will be married 58 years, March 27th of next year. My grandparents were married over 50 years. And so I did not have an upbringing of parents not together.
Okay.
But I didn't get it right. I didn't get it right for some reasons, and I'm not sure why. I was raised in homes with my parents and my grandparents that the men was the leader. They were the providers. They were the men of the household. My mom didn't work for a long time until she was probably in her 30s. And my grandmother, she worked domestic work, but my grandfather was the provider and head of household. So I was used to that. However, I think I saw things my parents went through the years because, you have some parents that go through ups and downs. They go through infidelities on both parts. And, they figured it out, I'm assuming, and they're still together at 82 and 83 years old. And my grandparents, I didn't see any of the any infidelities and I didn't see any abuse. I didn't see any physical abuse with my parents. But I think where I messed up, when I saw the infidelities, I favored my father and kept it a secret, but I would tell on my mother.
Mm.
Okay, so how old were you when you realized the infidelities were occurring?
Um, when I really, really, really knew, I was a tween.
Okay,
Yeah, I know
so
what y'all get what I'm saying. But my mom was kind of throwing it in my face about her infidelity, bragging about her other man and threatening to do things to my father. Um, but my dad, I think it was a retaliation. And so with me knowing that he was doing things because he was quieter about it, I didn't say anything.
let me ask you this. Do you think that he was, if for lack of a better term or for lack of a better way of asking the question, do you feel like he was more respectful to the household and the family with the way in which he did it as opposed to the way in which she did it?
That's the way I received it.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let me ask you this. How has that or anything else that you saw them go through, because they're still married, right?
Yes, they're still together.
Okay, that's
All that's it a
mhm.
long time ago. Because
Okay. How has seeing that affected you in your relationships?
I've been married twice, and will be married a third time, but I didn't get it right until this time. I don't think I'm going to have it right until this time. My first two marriages, I found men that I thought were good men, but they weren't the men that I thought they were. So I kind of married men that were more like my mother.
Mm.
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 Think that why do you think you were attracted to those guys?
I think it was a subconscious thing because I was the provider and the man of the household, and they were the ones that was not good people.
When you say not good, what does that mean?
They weren't providers or head of the household. They were. I did have abuse in my second marriage, and my first marriage. My husband didn't like working, nor did he like being um, loyal.
Mm.
Mm. Dr.
And so it
I'm
was
sorry,
like burst.
it
And
was you were playing a leadership role.
I played the leadership role.
Dr. Hulk,
Yeah.
um, if you
I,
have you can just go, but I had something in mind for you too. But go ahead.
I was gonna ask, like, so, like, with these relationships, how long did you stay, or how long did you remain before you said this is not for me? Like, did you try?
I did. I did. I have. I always said I had what's it called every 10 years? Um, like decades. I had decade relationships. My first husband, I was in my 20s, and at 29 I said I'm done. But I gave him a warning at 28 that I was going to be done in a year because I had to get myself together. The second relationship was in my 30s, early 40s. And I said, I stayed there. We were together from 2000 to 2016, but I didn't marry him until 2011, knowing it wasn't the right person for me, but I figured I was too old to get another man.
Okay, so you married for the sake of being married because the perception of being married looked good, so you accepted anything that came along. No.
Okay, so I have a question for you now.
Yes.
So, but
I gave him a warning too, real quick.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair. It's all good. We like transparency around here. That's one thing I advocate for is transparency and open communication to the best of our abilities, and validation too. Validation is my favorite.
And then thank you for being vulnerable too, for telling this story to everybody.
Yeah. So, but my question for you is: so, are you married now, or you're engaged now?
Neither.
And are you in a relationship?
I'm in a relationship that it will be 7 years this December, next month. And this is a person that I knew when I was in my teens. But he
throwback guy.
He was the good guy that I should have married. That was my father, technically.
Hold on. So you should have came along to the Mars Mindset a little bit sooner because we had a whole show on nice guys, right? And that's still on YouTube, so y'all can check that out on YouTube. So, but I got a question for you. So, because this is very important for other women out there, right? Because I saw this thing and they said that someone did this study, some college did this study that said by the year 2030, 50% of women won't be married, and they won't ever even get married or whatever because of the way things are going. So you're someone who's had 2 marriages, and you were able to actually go back and get the nice guy who you should have married at first.
Yes.
So my question is, what did you change? And I understand I'm not saying that it was all you, but I'm only talking to you. What are the things about yourself that you changed in order to be able to get the good guy now?
The good guy found me again.
Okay.
And I was in a different mindset because people used to say he wasn't my type. But I know people say this doesn't matter. He was a Virgo. He is 6'4". He's a good guy. He has a career. He has a home, and he provides all of the bills as the man. He takes care of them, and I do everything the lady does. I work, yes, but he is the provider, and he loves me to death, and he's good, he's kind, he's still nice. And he's still respectful. He's respectful. He's everything I should have looked at back in the day. He had a job. He was responsible. He went to school.
So,
he's at his job.
Let me ask you this. What was it about him back in the day that made you not want him back then?
He was too nice and too responsible.
He was a good guy.
He's a good guy.
A good guy.
So this is a lesson, but this is a very important lesson for anyone who watches my show, right? Get the good guy while and when you can. I promise you, that is your best option.
Because he may not come back. You may not get the opportunity and blessing that I got.
Most
Get
don't.
it back.
Most
But
don't.
but again, do you think if she would have gotten the good guy first, because it sounds like she said she had some growth in her mindset with the other two relationships?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, yes, of course, we learn as we go. We make mistakes, we make bad choices, we make good choices, and then we live and we learn. Some of us are fortunate enough to be able to retroactively get what we should have gotten to begin with, right?
Yes.
But the thing about men, right? And I'm not talking about cheating. I'm talking about just in relationships. Once a man finds a woman that he genuinely loves and wants to be with, most men won't leave. They won't leave the relationship. Women
Right.
are the ones who will just be like, oh, nah, I'm out, I'm gone. And so when I say, if you get the good guy early on, a good guy, a lot of good guys will help you grow, will hold your hand through your ups and downs and your mistakes, as long as you're there for him and his mistakes too, because most good guys, they're loyalists.
Mm-hmm.
So even when things get contentious, and she may have been, let's say, I'm sorry, what's your name again? Sonia.
Sonya.
Let's say Sonia. Let's say Sonia was emotionally unintelligent, but she was with the good guy. The good guy's mindset isn't necessarily going to be to leave. His mindset is going to be, okay, how can I help her become more emotionally intelligent? Because he's going to be down for the cause, right? If you blow it, you blow it. It is what it is. But if you give the good guy a shot early on, you have a better chance of having that longevity. Is your dad a good guy?
My dad is the best guy.
But see, at the same time, I'm wondering if that's why she chose the mate, because her dad was more her role model, so she was more like her dad, and she chose people like it. I'm talking like you're not here, but you're here right here, Sonia. So you chose men that were like your mom, or were they physical attractive? And again, because you said other people said the good guy wasn't your type, and was it because of looks? Yeah. It was. And I sent you that Steve Harvey video the other day, and Steve Harvey said, "Woman, get you the ugliest man there is."
He's not ugly.
I know. I'm not saying he's not ugly, but a lot of times as women, because they look good to us, we will forego some of the other stuff that men do. It's like you gotta be in a relationship more than because he cute.
Oh,
yeah,
we know that now.
Mm-hmm.
But let me reverse something. He went through the same things in reverse. He chose women. He was married twice. He too is an only child. He chose women that weren't good for him, but he chose women of a certain physical look also.
He had a type. Mm-hmm.
He had a type, which is me, but he had a different type, because his parents, they were color struck.
So because they were color struck, did he do the opposite? He wanted dark skinned women?
No,
he wanted like
he wanted to please his parents with the white. I'm not being mean. The Caucasian woman or the biracial. So he chose those women that were after him for his money. And he realized the same thing. So he walked away and dissolved the marriages. So we ended up in the same town, and he found me. I'm not gonna lie, he found me on Facebook. I didn't remember him right away, but he remembered every aspect of me, and we just reconnected, and we found that We were perfect for one another. The only thing is, we both say, had we done it then, would we be this way now?
And that's the thing. I do believe that God will put people together once they're in a mature place to understand and accept and appreciate it. Because I like for me and my husband, it's like I knew all of his family but never ran into him ever. But I think it was because God was taking both of us through that time of maturity before we met. And I think like he's perfect for me. So I do believe that.
Okay, Sonya, I got one more question for you, then I'm gonna let you slide off.
Yes, because I
What?
haven't cooked dinner, because I am that girl.
Yes, you do. So you said, through your two marriages, you improved your mindset, right?
I did.
What would you say is the number one thing about your mindset that changed that is going to allow you to have a successful marriage from this point, or a successful relationship from this point forward? What did you change about your mindset?
We will get married. What I changed about my mindset, it was not looking for that charming, good-looking guy that can talk me into anything. And then move in with me and not provide anything. And I finally had to say, I'm okay being by myself. Before Charles and I reconnected, I had made the decision, so had he. We were okay alone. We had decided we were okay by ourselves. And we became friends. And he is still my best friend. And we communicate. We have pillow talk. And I always, because he came from the same type of background. His parents are still married for several years. His grandparents, the same situation. Identical. We're both only children. We're both left-handed. It's like everything about us is duplicated, but on a reverse. And we both went through the same things. He had to get the same mindset. It's not about looks. It's not about pleasing our parents. But that was his situation, more pleasing his parents. Me, I was about, I don't know. I was more with vanity or the good looks and the arm candy. And it was a type, but he's a type. It's just that he just wasn't. He was he was a good guy. So we need to let that part go, looking for the bad boy that's exciting and got that swag that we look for in a mind that is immature. And I was miserable. I didn't know how miserable I was until I said, I'm done. And I'm not miserable now. And we complement each other. He gives me the most respect a man could give a lady. And he is a head of household with good old fashioned values.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm happy you were able to circle back and get your guy. You are more than welcome to come on the Mars Minds.
Thank you.
You like, and I wish you. What's my man name? Charles.
Charles.
I wish you and Charles all the best. I appreciate.
Thank you for having me, and thank you again. And I'll be back.
Okay, good. Make sure you follow me. I'll follow you back once I get off.
I do follow you.
Okay, cool.
You just never invited me on.
Follow you back. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Later. All right, hold on. We gotta get a guy in here, Dr. Hawk. Let's see. So I know somebody was getting it in the comments. There was somebody in the comments that was just going
back and forth with Julie. Going back and forth with Julie, whoever it was.
There was some. Well, let's see. Let's try him. Let's see if we can get a guy in here to get a guy's perspective on how his parents' relationship affected.
How's it going?
Peace, King. How you feeling?
All right. For a Monday, I'm not doing too shabby.
Okay, cool. If you're not gonna turn the camera or the lights on, just turn the camera off. Then that way we can just have your picture there. Your profile.
All right.
Appreciate you. How you feeling today?
I'm doing just great, man.
Good. It's good to have you on the show. It's good to have you on the show. Meet Dr. Hawk.
Hello, how are you?
All right. Hi.
So my question for you is, how has your parents' relationship or lack thereof affected your relationship or relationships in the present?
All right. So my mother and my father were never married. I wouldn't say necessarily my mother and father were the best relationship examples, so I would go with my grandparents.
Okay. So are you saying you try to mimic more so what your grandparents had as opposed to what your parents had?
Yes.
Okay. So what does your grandparents' relationship look like that you try to emulate?
Well, as far as going into a relationship, me, myself, and I'm 44. I haven't been in a long-term relationship in quite some time. The last one was like 2.5 years. It wasn't the best relationship, but 2.5 years is still a long time. I thought about marrying her, but then all she wanted to do was get high, and her her mental state was kind of deteriorating, and I didn't know what to do at that point. So I was just like, look. And what eventually happened was, is she finally stopped being clingy. She got herself a full-time job. She got herself a free car. She was doing really well. And then it fell apart again. I was just like, what is going on? So yeah, the frustration, at this point, I don't see myself getting into another relationship ever. It'll just be kind of one of those things where it's just a fling, or we go out to a movie and pizza, and then at the end of the day, we'll just sit down and have a conversation. I'm not in it to win it, you know. I value a good relationship when it comes down to friendship, and if I'm going to even commit to somebody, it's going to be friendship first, and then we'll see what happens.
I think that's a very smart way of doing it. I think if more people did it that way and focused on the friendship aspect of it, more marriages would last longer. And that actually ties into what Sonia was talking about, because she was probably more so friends with the nice guy as opposed to, seeing him as a boyfriend type. And went through it and she learned it. And now they're probably more friends than anything else, because you really want to be able to be friends with your spouse, because most people can be friends with people for a long time.
Yeah, and when you take whenever you bring the word friends into the equation, it's like, okay, what is friendship to you? What do you value about this person? So whenever you go over these values and what friendship really means, now you're reevaluating not only yourself, but you're reevaluating your values.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Brilliant. You're not only evaluating yourself, you're evaluating your values.
Right, because maybe you question or you say, what is it about my values that attracts me to this type of person, or have that type of person be attracted to me? So that's interesting.
Okay, so I got one more question for you, and then I'll let you slide off. Let's say you meet the perfect friend, female friend, and how long would you have to do this friendship thing with her before you think you would know, like, hey, she may actually be worthy of marriage? How long do you think it would take?
All right, now I'm going to go off of physical aspirations here, because when I look at a woman and if she carries herself well, she's clean, she's well kept, I'm gonna say that probably within a month, if we're seeing each other maybe an hour every other day or something like that.
So to make sure I understand you, you're saying if you were to see the perfect woman,
Physical attraction is probably going to be like, oh man, you are so gorgeous, woman. You know what? I can't help myself. Is it okay if I kiss you? You know, kind of thing.
okay, but would that physical attraction be enough to lead you to having a long-term relationship with her?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me ask you this before you go. One more question. If are you into celebrities at all? Like, name a celebrity
I
that.
follow celebrities actually.
Okay, name the one female celebrity that, based on her looks alone, you would say, you know what? All I need is a month to figure out, and we could be together.
One day, Kristen Stewart.
Is that the which one is that?
Kristen Stewart is from the werewolf movie, right?
Is that the
Yeah, she also did Snow White.
Yeah, she was
We just watched this the other day.
Yeah.
With the vampires and the werewolf.
Yes, and the wolves. Yeah.
What is it called, Dr. Hawk? Lil, put it in the comments. True Blood?
No, it's not True Blood.
Twilight.
Twilight.
Okay.
Twilight. That's it.
So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let you slide off, my brother. I hope to God that you meet Kristen Stewart so that you can marry her after 1 month and live happily ever after. Who's following
Hey, hey, man. Hey, thanks for having me, man.
All right, man. Peace out. That was fun.
Interesting.
All right, so we got a lot of people in here, so if anybody wants to come on to the live, click the little circle with the plus in the middle, and I'll bring you up. If not, I'm gonna just roll the dice, and me and Dr. Hawk gonna keep going. Dr. Hawk, you got anything before we bring the next person in?
Mm-mm.
All right, cool. Let's see. What do you think about? Hold up, before we bring someone else in, what do you think about a month? You think a month is
So I don't think a month. I don't think a month is enough time. Again, you can't go by me because, like I said, I moved really fast with my husband.
Mm-hmm.
But a month to me is not enough. But at the same time, being that he's 44, and if it's a woman that's his age too, is that woman looking for a commitment, or is it someone that's been married a couple times and is like, I'm just looking for a fling and I don't want to be? So I guess weighing that out too.
Yeah, I guess so. I think I personally would need more than a month, but I do think I would need more than a month. But I do think, and I'm just talking about myself, I've always been a pretty decent judge of character at like first impressions and reading people and energies and stuff like that. So I could say that within the first month, I could have a pretty decent gauge on if this person has the potential, right? I'm like a month. I need a little more time. I gotta vet this thing because you could be a good person, and we feel that doesn't mean we're gonna work well together, right?
Right.
But I can pretty much gauge a month. To me is good enough for me to be like, oh, she seems pretty cool, emotionally intelligent, self-aware.
So it's like you could say, now let me take the next step and go to the next level. Like I can, but right. I don't know if I'll be ready to say, yeah, I'm ready to get married after a month.
Yeah. But he said Kristen Stewart come through the door, it's over. It's shut down. Tyrell.
What's going on?
Tyrell, Realtor Tyrell.
What's going on, guys?
Hey.
So, find me. I've been working from home all day, so I am comfortable.
Oh. I see.
It's all good. So, Realtor Tyrell, how has your parents' relationship or lack thereof affected you in your current relationship?
It affected me, one, because My parents split when I was extremely young. I was probably 5 or 6 when my parents split. And my father was not around for. Actually, me and my father just really started rekindling our relationship within the last couple of years. And when I first met my fiance, I did not talk to my father at all. It was my fiance who pushed me in that space. So, to answer the question, my parents' lack of relationship in previous relationships caused me to be more hurt because, or I would say, want to be more, one, more hurt, and then two, caused me to almost try to be the perfect guy because I was trying not to be my father.
And you know what? When I came up with the topic and I was just thinking about it as the day went on, I was thinking about how some people go so far to the opposite, right, of what their parents are, that they lose the gifts that their parents that they dislike actually have.
Right.
Yep.
Right? Because you just do, like, I don't want to be that person, so I'm going to be the complete opposite. And what's crazy is that you actually, and a lot of times, you actually just end up being that same exact person. Because two extremes are very similar.
Which is very ironic because now that I have a relationship with my father, I see how similar I am to my father.
Let me ask you this. Before you go, because I want to get this out and I don't want to lose it. You weren't speaking to your father, but now you see that you're more like him than what you realized. What good qualities or traits about your father do you realize now that you didn't realize before?
So I always knew that my father was a hard worker and a workaholic. My father is a very good provider. I found out that even when my parents were together, my father made a very good salary for himself. And so now I recognize where I get my ability to work from.
Your work ethic.
My work. I couldn't think of that word, Dr. Hall.
Yeah.
And I also recognize that the way that I plan and orchestrate things is how my father does things. My father is very meticulous with how he moves, while my father, his education isn't that. My father, not to tell his business, but he barely graduated from high school. But my father has a very wise business strategy to help him produce not one, not two, but 3 businesses that to this day do very well.
That's my. But shout out to your fiance too, because you said she kind of was the one who pushed that to happen, right?
Yeah, my sister and my mother tried for years, and I was not having it. And my fiance was able to kind of convince me to really take a moment and heal. And
so why? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Why was that? Why were you so, I guess, angry? You said angry and you needed to heal. So why were you why did you have that feeling towards your father? If you don't mind, yeah, it might be getting a little too personal.
No, it's perfectly fine because I like talking about this because it shows my growth, and it helps me kind of process where I was and where I am. So I don't mind talking about it at all. It's just I haven't been asked these questions before. The reason why I was so angry and hurt was because as a child, I wanted the mom and dad in the house, the white parents, and I wanted the American dream childhood. When my parents split, I felt like he robbed us of having that.
Oh.
And the reason why my mom and my sister could not assist me in healing is because of the fact that I felt like he robbed them of it, and so I was defending them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I have one more question for you, and then I'm gonna let you slide off because I got 3 people waiting to get in. Tell me about the moment, because like I can hold a grudge, so I know how it is to be 10 toes down on something, right? Tell me about the moment that your fiance said whatever it was that she said to you, and like the wall cracked, and you were kind of like, she might actually have a point. What was that moment? What did she say? What was that moment? How did you respond? What was that like?
The moment was, she said, "Would you rob our kids of having a grandparent?"
Oh,
She a doctor, right?
Yeah.
She hit you. She hit you with the Mike Tyson uppercut, and it broke you down, huh?
She asked me. She said, and I remember sitting in my car, and I was about to transition over to my therapy appointment. I'm an avid believer of therapy, and I was in full time therapy.
I'm gonna
And
get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there.
and my therapist was not cracking that wall at all. And
Mm-hmm.
she said, "I understand that your father was not there for you, but if your father is alive, would you rob your children of having a grandfather when you never had a father?" Because I did not have a grandfather on both my maternal side and my paternal.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
Do you think she just knew you well enough, or because it could be any number of things, right? Did she know you well enough, or was she also looking out for her future kids?
I think it was a little bit of both, because I pretty much had said, probably before this conversation or something, a little bit prior to, where I said I would allow him to be a grandfather to my children, but I would not allow him to be a father to me, because he opportunity. And so when she said that, she's just like, "Okay, cool, well, great, you can have them," but she's just like, "How do you expect for that relationship to be built if there's no tether there?"
Right. Mm. But you don't have kids right now, though.
We do not.
But
So,
you and your dad are good now. Like, I mean, y'all talk.
We're a lot better in a year than we have been in almost 20 years.
That's beautiful. Go ahead, Dr. Hawk.
I was gonna ask. So, and again, I don't want to get too personal and put your parents out there. So, why did you put the onus of the relationship of your family splitting up more so on your dad than your mom, or not looked at? And I know it's probably because we as the moms are nurturers, and our boys cling to us as mothers.
Part of that, um, m- my maternal side, I'll just say the whole side,
Okay.
has an issue with always playing victim.
Oh, okay.
So as a child, I always heard the victim story.
But not the other side.
And I still, to this day, I still haven't heard the other side.
Okay.
But what made me understand and made me really just put a space of like, you want to know what, I just really need to gap this out and not put all the blame on one side or the other, because it took me understanding that not all relationships work, no matter how long they're together. And
Mm-hmm.
understood that not every relationship is meant to be or will last because of whatever differences. I recognize, well, maybe my parents just did not work out. They loved each other at one point. They had 2 amazing children, but they together was not healthy.
Right.
And so because of that and understanding that, I was just like, you want to know what? Why would I hold him accountable for possibly did I want my parents to be miserable, health or unhealthy, or kill each other for a white picket fence?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, do you think that it's the man's job to keep the family together or to hold them together? Is that something that you felt in your mind too?
No, I never had that specific thought. My thought pattern more so was because, again, my father wasn't me and my sister's life for many years.
Mm-hmm.
So part of it was, okay, well, you divorced my mom. We wouldn't hear from you for years upon years. Not
Mm-hmm.
obligated to
Okay.
hopefully together.
Okay.
But then shortly after, my father remarried.
Okay.
Ate a lot of the victim talk,
Gotcha.
very real. And so not only did I have the crushing of a childhood dream of having the white picket fence, I had this new woman who came into our lives shortly after, and I knew that. And of course, I didn't like her because she's not my mom. I want my mom and dad together.
Gotcha.
But then I hear the victim talk of that. Then on top of that, my father and her take years later take on her grandchild and has raised her from a baby. And so it was, okay, well, you raised this child that's not nowhere near blood to you, and you didn't raise your own kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get about that. And then on top of that is, okay, well, me and my sister get to the age of graduation, and my sister graduates high school and college, and my dad's there. My dad didn't come to my graduation.
Mm-hmm.
So and then on top of that was more victim talk. So it's this multi-layered thing that kept building over the years, and it took me just be like, you want to know what? I know what I and like it really. To be honest, and this is not a ploy to anyone saying one thing or another. It really took me getting serious with God,
Mm-hmm.
give Him, so that I could be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I'm holding Him accountable for not teaching me how to be a man, but not understanding that my father, there's no book on parenting. So my father could have never really taught me how to be a man outside of the way he knew how to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
Because of him not having a father figure, he was doing it blindly.
Right.
Yeah. So you get to but see, you be the one who truly. What's the thing they're saying now? You get to truly break the generational curse. It's kind of
Yes.
because you get to do it in both ways, though, right? Like you get to forgive your father, right, and continue to develop a relationship with him and get his perspective, and you get to have kids in the future and and you still get the white picket fence. It's funny how things work out though sometimes, because sometimes you want stuff as a kid, but you can't get it you don't get it until you're an adult. So you become adamant about providing it for your kids.
Yeah.
So that's
And
something to think about too.
one more thing, when me and my fiance decided to move to Seattle, there are a lot of different moving parts. And I'm a little bit traditional, but also more liberal when it comes down to how the structure of my home is. Yes, I do believe in the male being the provider, but I also believe that there is an intermingling of gender roles and how a house functions to be healthy.
Okay.
When moving to Seattle, I leave my business to someone else. So I go to Seattle, start all over,
All over again.
and from ground zero. And when I do that, one of the things that was plaguing me was the fact that I would not be able to be the rock for me and my fiance that I was used to being financially, emotionally, and everything else. And one day, talking to God, I was just like, God, I don't know who to call. I don't know who to vent to. I don't know what to do. And as clear as day, God was just like, call your father. And I was just like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And so I called my father, and my father tells me of this story where when he was getting married to his wife, that he had just been terminated from his 6-figure salary job, and he would not tell his wife right before their wedding that he has been terminated.
Oh.
And so, of course, this woman, really knowing my father, was just like, Anthony, something's wrong. Like, something is wrong with you. What is wrong? And he kept saying, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. And finally, he decided to tell her. And when he told her, he was just, she said to him, okay, well, you'll find another job. But she also made 6 figures. So she was just like, okay, I'll make sure that you're good and you figure it out and everything else, which helped comfort me in my transition because I didn't lose my income. I decided to give up to be with my wife, but my fiance was like his wife. And you want to know what? I'll make sure that we're okay until you get back on your feet.
Right.
And my father just really kind of had to coach me through and be like, okay, I get it. I understand what you're saying. I understand where your pride is. I understand where your mindset is. But you have to allow your helpmate to be your helpmate.
You know, something else you're hitting on too, and then I'm going to let you slide, right? And it's something I always try to help people do when they're open to it. The people that we dislike the most are almost always the people who have the nuggets of information or advice that we need. That which you avoid is the thing you're supposed to run towards. And once you do it, you may still not like this person, right? But you can get the information from them. They'll give you the information that you need one way or the other. So I just the whole story is just beautiful to me. I hope you and your father's relationship continue to blossom. I wish you all the best on the wedding and having babies and all of that good stuff, man. That's what's up.
Yeah, it's funny how God really turns things around because and I say this to really talk to people in general. And I tell people this when they call me for advice. Be careful of who you tell God you don't like.
Right.
Because he'll make you call, like for me it's I have to swallow my pride with God a lot.
And that's the thing. It'll be like that a person that you will need in a certain moment the most.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the lesson I think that's one of the lessons of forgiveness that a lot of us go through, right? And you have to, that's one of the things that kind of popped me open to being more open-minded, right?
Yeah.
As I started looking at, and I'm talking large scale politics, presidential candidates, senators, congressmen, and Republicans more so. And I was like, these people, I don't really like these people. Let me see what it is that they got going on over here. And the more you dig into it, it's kind of like, oh, they got some gems over here. They got some stuff that I agree with. They do too. But the willingness to stop avoiding them is what allows you to grow.
Yeah, there's a quote in the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki where he says he was doing some research on investing, and there was this one investor that he did not like. And the investor said something that he did not 100% agree with. And it was not until his 20th or 30th time listening to what the man said to where he could understand why he said it.
He was his own block, right? And I think that's what happens a lot. You're the block. It's not the other person. The other person is a reflection. They're trying to show you something. You got to be able to see it, though. But you got to be able to see yourself in order to see them.
Exactly. So then later on, Robert Kiyosaki goes on and says that once he recognized why that specific person said what they said, he said, it's not that it changed my perception, but it gave me a second way of looking at an issue. So now, instead of having one perspective on an issue, I now have two perspectives on the same issue.
Right. You have a more bird's eye view. But we appreciate you, Tyrell. You gonna be back tomorrow with us?
I'll be back. Just let me know.
All right. Well, I'll be here. I'll be here around 5:30 unless something happens. If something happens, I'll put out a notice letting y'all know I'm not gonna be here. But I'm here Monday through Friday. But I appreciate you, brother.
You're very welcome. You guys have a great night.
You too, Tyrell, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Hawk. Let's get hold on, where they at? We got 3 people trying to get in, Dr. Hawk. We got Rogue. Let's see what we got. All right, hold on. Julie B. Hold on one second.
Hi guys.
Hold on. We got to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And then Keisha, is Keisha still in here? Is Keisha still in here? Yeah, she's still in here. Okay, cool. So, Keisha, you gonna close it out for me. Julie B.
Hi.
How you feeling?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. This gives me the opportunity to let you all know. Nikki, hi, Nikki. Hi, Nikki.
We can't hear you, Nikki.
We can't hear you.
Oh, my bad. Hi, y'all. Hi, friends. How are y'all this Monday?
My people's
So one more time, just to let everyone know, if you weren't here before, our good friend Dr. J is going under the knife a little bit today, or has been under the knife a little bit today. So we're going to keep Dr. J in our thoughts and prayers. And as soon as, I talk to her or hear something, and she tells me what I can update y'all on, I will. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/IamChellsX. Julie B.
Yes.
I know the answer to this question because I know.
Yes, you do.
However, everyone doesn't know the answer to this question coming from you. So how has your parents' relationship or lack thereof
Lord have mercy.
current relationship status today?
So my parents were together for as long as I could remember. I would say like 25 years, but they were never married. Yep, they were business partners. They bought property to get everything that I didn't even know they weren't married. Like everything they did was together. And it wasn't until I was like 22 that my dad came in the house one day, and like we used to have like family meetings, and he was like, I'm calling a family meeting. And he was like, I am moving out. I will no longer live with your mother. And I didn't understand because their relationship wasn't the best, but they still made it work. Like, my dad cheated and he had like a whole other woman and all that stuff, but my mom never turned her back. Actually, my mom won the lotto one year. I think it was like 200,000. And she gave the ticket to my dad and was like, I want to show you how loyal I am despite whatever. Here you go. Like you handle it. And I didn't really understand like what the purpose of that was, but I always understood that no matter what, my mom was always there. And I asked her one time, like, why didn't you guys ever get married? And she basically said, like, your father never wanted to get married. He was gonna take care of the household and help me raise the kids, but he just had no interest in getting married. So I was very resentful toward my dad is a good father, but he wasn't a good partner, I would say, to my mom. So now, as an adult, I have the biggest fear of being with someone and not getting married. Because I keep saying that I'm not going to do what my mom did. I'm not going to do what she did. I'm not going to invest a lifetime into a person without, getting married. And in this last relationship that I was in for almost 10 years, that's actually why I left. Because I was like, I'm almost halfway there to where my mom was. And
There's no, we talked about it, but I don't know, what. I guess he changed his mind. I don't know. All I know is that I did not want to do what my mom did.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let's say you met the perfect guy. He's perfect in everything you could ever want. Did he say, Julie Bean, I ain't getting married? Is that a deal breaker for you?
So that is the current case right now, right? So it was a deal breaker for me because I kept saying I don't want to be like my mom. But recently one of my friends asked me, what is the reason why I want to be married? Not that I don't want to be like my mom, right? But like, what's the reason for me being married? If I met the perfect guy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I still can't answer that question because I want to be married. Like, I don't want to shack up, and I feel like I don't want to live in sin. And I had my kids out of wedlock, so I'm like, if there's one thing that I could do right, please let me just get married one time.
Okay, so before we move on to Nikki, let me ask you this. And I notice that people have a tendency to do this. They talk about what they want in the negative, right? You'll ask them what they want, and they'll know what they want. Like Julie Bean, she'll say, I want to be married. And you say, okay, well, what does that look like? And then they give you a list of everything that it doesn't look like, right? My question to you would be, you want to be married, there has to be some vision or version of it in your mind that is in the affirmative, right?
Mhm.
So I want to be married because it looks like this. What are those good things that you see in your mind about marriage that drive your desire for marriage?
So what I see is that you have a lifelong partner that will be there for you through it all. Like the one because to me, like now I'm experiencing this now. My kids are adults now. So my kids are about to go live their lives. And I feel like when you meet that person and you two decide to get married, you're saying to each other, you are my person, I am your person till death do us part. And I know people say like we come into this earth alone and we're going to die alone, but I don't think we're meant to be alone in the meantime.
Well, what was in my mind is, yeah, I might have been born alone, I might die alone, but that don't mean I'm supposed to be alone in the middle. Everything in the middle is really what really matters, right?
Exactly. So that for me is like the most important thing is like to have that partner that it's almost like you can blindly put your trust into that person and know that no matter what, you guys are going to make it to the other side together.
You're talking about that dedication, that actual commitment that we're going to be here. And you know what? The other day when I interviewed, that might have been the week before last, when I interviewed Dr. E, I was making the point that sometimes if you have an issue with your significant other, right? Because different people have different anxiety levels, it would actually be beneficial to tell this person, hey, listen, I have an issue. I feel some type of way. This is not something that's going to end our marriage or end our relationship, because then it makes the person who's receiving that more receptive to fixing the problem, as opposed to thinking that they have to actually go and save the whole marriage, which could be done through avoidance too, right?
Right.
So I feel you on the commitment. Dr. Hawk, do you have anything in response to Julie Bean, or did you have something else?
That was just my question. Like, what other than marriage can solidify that level of
commitment? Yeah.
I mean,
because my ex used to tell me, like, I'm not like your dad. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not this. And I'm like, what other than marriage solidifies that type of commitment? I don't know.
So what was he afraid of getting married? By saying I'm not your dad, I'm not going anywhere. But did he give a reason as to why?
So
in discovery, like over time, I realized like his mom was divorced 3 times.
Okay.
You know, all the people around him that he grew up watching were in failed marriages.
And I guess some people too, they have this mindset of things change once you get married as far as expectations in a relationship, and maybe that's something they're fearful of too. But
I mean, oh no, I think though there is no other thing, Julie, right?
I don't
Because
think so.
anything else is just your word.
Yeah.
And while marriage is different than a long-term relationship, one, because the government's involved, right? So like I'm committed to my wife. If I don't want to be with my wife anymore, technically I have to go to the governing body and convince them that we shouldn't be together. So that's a level of commitment on a legal level. But because most people have some belief in God and marriage is tied into that, I think that it's reasonable for someone to say, I want to be married as I want you to marry me as a show of commitment, right? Because we're going to do this for your and my supreme being. We're going to make this agreement in front of God. That's how they frame it.
yeah,
Right? And the
yeah,
government.
yeah. It says he that findeth the wife findeth a good thing, and then from woman's like, let me be that good thing. Like you find me. Yeah.
Right. So, we talked about it before, Julie B. So, it is what it is. Are you there, Nikki?
I'm here. I've been listening. Listen, this show today and this topic and the people that have come on, I mean, it's been fire all day long.
Well, since it's fire, Nikki, I have 3 of my Patreon subscribers here. We have Dr. Hulk, we got Nikki, and we got Julie. You can watch this live again and pick up all the little tips and information that everyone has given. If you too go to patreon.com/IamChellsX and subscribe. Nikki,
What's up?
how has your parents' relationship or lack thereof affected your current relationship, marriage? To my man, John. King John.
I think yes, my King John. I would say that because my parents, I wasn't raised by both of my parents. My mom raised me. My mother was a single parent of 4 kids. She was a stepmother in her 20s. And then when that relationship ended, she still was a stepmother. She still, was involved. So she had a village of children that she looked after. My mother modeled for me what it is to be committed, but it just took on a different form because it was us that she was committed to. So through her, I learned integrity. I learned resilience. You know what I mean? I got those things from her, even though she didn't have the partner in parenting that she really needed the assistance with. But with my dad, I don't know that people really pay that much attention to how much genetics play a factor in how you rule in your home, how you move in your business, how your marriage is molded. But I told you guys that I didn't even meet my father until I was like 31 years old. So when I did meet him and we conversed, it was mind-blowing how similar we were. And the way that we spoke, mannerisms, the way that we resolve conflict, all of that. Like, I have like my mom's mannerisms and her ways, and sometimes my kids say I make her face, but I am totally, like, there's no blurred vision. I'm totally my father. And it's crazy because I'm just now getting this man a part of my life. I didn't even know how much I mimicked him, not knowing him.
Y'all got a good relationship now?
I mean, it could be better, but it's there. Like, I mean, I went my entire life not even having a photograph of my dad. I would have been able to walk past him on the street and not even know what he looked like. I never saw him until I saw him. So, when you go from that to speaking, when we do catch up, It's hours at a time. It's like talking to an old friend that you don't know why you're so familiar with them, but you're so familiar with them. It's like that.
Okay, so this is just for everyone, Dr. Hawk, Julie Bean, and Nikki. Um, because all three of y'all at this point, well, Dr. Hawk and Julie, y'all knew y'all dad. Nikki, you didn't know your dad till later on. But the question is, how did your relationship with your dad or lack thereof affect your choice in men? Like, did you look for a guy who was more like your dad? Or Nikki, for you, did you look for a guy who was like super present, like almost clingy, right? You know what I'm saying? How does that play a role? Or how did that play a role?
Well, that's exactly what I did because you got to know my mom was, because she was the single mom, she represented mom and dad, even though she couldn't be dad. She was both parents. And in her being a single mother to 4 kids, and we lived a very nice, me and my siblings were very cared for. You would have thought we had a 2-parent home, and they both were very well off because she bust her butt to make sure that her children had things. But in doing that, we had things, we didn't have her.
Mhm.
So I did seek people that were super present because not only did I not have my dad, my mom showed up in the way of material things because she grew up so poverty ridden that for her that was success. That equated success was to be able to give her children all the things that she felt like her parents failed to give her, and she grew up with her parents. So I definitely looked for people that were going to stay. I don't even think that I required much more outside of that, to be honest with you. Initially, when I started dating, I think I just wanted someone that was going to fight, regardless as to what the situation was.
Right, right. Dr. Hawk, what you got?
So I think for me, like, I wouldn't say that I was at, like, I actually look, but I guess the thing as far as my father's concerned, this is why I like someone that has that little edge, because my dad was a protector, like, too. Like, he used to box. So I guess that's why I didn't say, I like the good guy, but I like somebody that has that edge too, because I want to feel protected, because that was my dad. Like, I felt like my dad was fearless. Like, my dad walked up to a man with a gun, and the man shot my dad through the heart, but my dad still lived. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that courage, that piece.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we know my man Dr. Tom ain't playing no game. Chumps, what do they say? Chumps jump up to catch the beat down.
Yeah.
Julie B.
So I realized that he is exactly like my dad.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the fears that I had, that I was going to be with him and he was going to, like my dad, 20 years later, say, I'm done. Yeah. And my mom actually was the one who told me. He's a great guy. And outside of the infidelity, he's just like your father. Very quiet, very well-mannered, very fearful. And a lot of the things that my mom tried to pursue business-wise, my dad was so afraid that their business didn't go as far as it could have, because my mom was a risk taker. I am the risk taker. And my ex is not. My ex will take a whole year to make one decision.
But that goes back to kind of what we were talking about with Tyrell too, though, is that something that you fear that's constantly there, right? Mm-hmm. You're really supposed to go towards it. That's really what you're supposed to do. You're really supposed to.
Don't tell me that, Chell.
No, I mean, for real. Like, okay, so I have a fear of heights. That doesn't mean I'm supposed to go bungee jump off of a bridge, right? But the higher you get, the higher the altitude, and I have a fascination with space, right? So the higher you go up on the mountain or building, the more beautiful the night sky becomes, So I have a desire to see the night sky. The best way to see it is to go up through the fear, right, of heights and be able to see what it has to offer. So when I think about your guy, and I've never spoken to him, I'm like, he's probably missing out on the blessing of marriage because of the fear. So, fear can be crippling or fear can put you into action. If it puts you into action and you go towards it and you face it, a lot of times we face our fears and it's not even, it's like a veil. Like you walk through and it's like a veil curtain. You're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. But you do hear a lot of horror stories about marriage. So dudes are like, yo, I ain't trying to go through that. So, I guess it is what it is. I got to get Keisha in here for closing. So who's going to slide off?
I'll slide off. I've been in here. I'll slide off and let Keisha get on in here.
All right, Dr. Hulk, I appreciate you.
I appreciate y'all too.
Dr. Hulk, hold on. Before you go.
Yes.
Did you win some type of
So you saw me dancing.
I'm glad you brought that
up. And she did. I was like, wait a second. What?
She was showing out.
I'm a Housewives of Potomac fan, so I went to Giselle and Robin's live podcast, and they had a little dance off up there, and they pulled me on up there. I said, "Oh yeah, I got this."
Okay. Well, as always, thank you, Dr. Hulk. I know you'll be here tomorrow, and if you can, I'm sure you'll let me know why you're not. But we appreciate you.
All right, appreciate y'all too.
All right, we'll holler.
Bye, Dr. Holt.
See ya. Still listening.
Yep. All right, so hold on. Let me do this for a second. Y'all got anything before we bring Keisha in? Or should we just bring Keisha in?
Yeah, bring Keisha.
Okay, cool. Oh, where's she at? Hold on. Why do I always do that? Let's see. Keisha! We ain't seen Keisha in a while. Keisha!
Hey!
Hi!
How you feeling?
I'm good. Life is life. I'm good. How are y'all?
Good.
Julie Bean, how are you?
I am not complaining.
Okay.
That's my new thing. No complaining.
Okay, I'm good too. Thanks for asking. So Keisha, how has your parents' relationship affected, or lack thereof, affected your current or recently current relationships?
Well, I could say lack thereof. My parents were married, but they had some issues going on, and as a young child, I remember some of those issues. And I was brought up by my mom primarily, and that was on the platform of a hurt.
Is she stuck? Keisha, you stuck?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. You
Okay.
were brought up. The last thing I heard, you were brought up.
Yeah. I was brought up by my mom when my parents separated, and my mom operated as a hurt woman. So that in turn was how alarm. In turn, that's how I learned how to be a woman in relationships with men, operating from the hurt woman standpoint when I wasn't even hurt. I was just trying to entertain and obtain something that I saw them lose and something that I felt like they never had because I was so young. Please say hi to Chels. Okay,
What's up?
go ahead.
File back.
He just, Chels. Hi, Chels. I'm like, look, I will tell him hello.
I saw the little hand back there.
I know he was there, and then he gets shy, and then he runs off. But I feel like the things that I saw as a child, like my mom chasing after my father, knowing that he was cheating, and finding him with the woman while we're in the back seat. I just think that people should think twice when they do things like that because I was super young. I'm 43 today. I still remember that. Like, I remember seeing it. I remember the hurt. I remember the altercation between them two. And for that, it was like my relationships, I trauma bonded with people. It was like that was what love was, because if they loved each other and you're constantly telling me, you know, mommy, daddy loves each other, but this, we love, but I'm seeing all of this dysfunctional behavior that I don't know at that time is dysfunctional. So I brought that on for myself. And that, now as an older woman, that's truly heartbreaking. My mother always told me, you don't do things with men. You do it for yourself. And if they're there, they're there. And when they fuck up, put them out. So that became something that I did. I never truly went 100% in relationships with men because I knew that it was going to come a time when they would mess up and I would just dismiss it. And I find that to be behavior of mine, like for the most part of my life, to trauma bond, to accept dysfunctional behavior as being normal, and to just dismiss and leave relationships without working on it, trying to figure it out, see if it was me that may have been the problem. And many times it was me, because I truly did not understand what a relationship was, what it took to make it work, and what a healthy relationship was. Like, I am sitting up here thinking that toxic and dysfunctional behavior is normal. Oh, this person loves me, that's why they're doing this. Or, you know, this is going on because they love me, because mommy or daddy always said that, you know, we love each other. So yeah.
So that being the case, right? Who or what showed you that the toxicity wasn't love?
I met a man later on in life, and this was even after I got married, because my husband wasn't even the one to teach me that lesson. And he taught me about love and how love is supposed to be, and how when you love someone, you don't do that type of thing. That is not right. That's dysfunctional. So for him to actually say these things to me and be enlightened to something different, somebody who's actually loving on you and respecting you and listening to you and not being physical, it showed me that the things that I thought was love was not. And so it like broke the ground and laid a blueprint for the future. And even in like understanding my parents, I feel as though my children taught me the biggest lesson. My first three taught me the biggest lesson, that I had to stop being mad at them for what they taught me, but understand, as someone, many people have said before on this live tonight, that parenting does not come with a book. We have our own demons in the closet and our own traumas from our childhood that we bring into our adulthood. And when my children had me be my mother and my father, it showed me that I needed to stop being angry with them, and I needed to stop being mad. And I don't have to do what was taught to me. I can learn, meet people that are positive and on the right level and journey, and retrain my brain and my perspective in life. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, good. So we've reached the 7:30 mark, so that means we got
Yes.
for the night. Nikki, do you have anything in closing?
I'm just waiting for you to get picked up, because I know this about to be on TV. Because these topics been like,
Amazing.
I'm really not gassing you. I'm serious. You've been coming with it, and I appreciate that you're following them. The people that are tuning in are all around the world. I think that I'm gaining more insight in what I thought was just going to be a small, intimate group than I had probably in like therapy sessions. Like, this legit is paying off.
Oh, good. Well, I appreciate you, Nikki. I mean, you know, I just go one day at a time. Like a lot of the stuff that I talk about in my reels, I'm genuine to that stuff. So I do the one thing that I can do in the present moment to continue towards the goal. And today, that's this particular live. Some lives are super lit, others are just kind of chill. And I always want people to get good, solid information, whether that's for me or somebody else, to hear other people's experiences and all of that. So I just keep. I appreciate you, Julie Bain. What do you have in closing?
Well, I knew today was gonna be lit because Friday you logged off early, so I was like, okay, here come Monday.
The Monday shows, they be lit. Yeah, you're right.
But the only thing that I would say is I really wish there was a course on like relationships and love in school. Because if you think about it, like now I'm 40 and I'm learning, but my kids are grown. So at what point was I setting the correct example for them? You know?
Right.
And like it kind of it keeps me wondering, like, at what point do we have the ability to teach the correct way of what relationships should be like, and if we didn't have that example?
Well, I think that willing to be transparent with your kids about the things that you are experiencing to the degree they can understand it, right? And being open about the way you feel about things will help them, right? So if your kids see you dealing with something that you'd rather not deal with, it's okay to explain it to them in that way and how you feel about it. So they'll know, okay, this is not something that I want to experience, right? I mean, if you take any other aspect of life, we don't really have a problem explaining things to. Like, I don't have a problem telling my kids, yo, somebody punch you punch them back, right? You gotta be able to protect yourself in the world, right? So I go to work. If I get punched in the face and I punch somebody else in the face, I don't have a problem telling my kids that, yo, this is what happened. And though you may look at daddy as being, mean or whatever the case may be because of the way I express it, I'm also going to explain to you that there will be people in the world who do things to you that you do not like. And it is your responsibility to hold that line. So just like that, in relationships, if you experience something and your kids are young, find the best way possible to explain it to them so that they can have it in their subconscious mind early on. I remember my dad told me this. I remember my mom told me that, and that's the best we can do because there is no perfect marriage.
Yeah.
There is no book on the perfect marriage because we're imperfect people. So all we can do is really be honest, transparent, and try to teach our kids the best way we can. That's my opinion. Keisha, take a little sip. Take a little sip.
Yes.
A little sip.
I-
Keisha, you there?
I mean,
All right. What you got in closing?
in closing, the things that we learn in our developmental years are very important, but we also have to learn that we can change the course of the journey that we were put on. You don't have to adopt every single thing, and you have to be willing to be open-minded and learn new ways and new things to be able to recognize when something is unhealthy and when something is healthy, and what is good for you. Because what may be good for your parents, not saying that my parents were bad people, because both of them had their qualities, as everyone said, that were very positive, but we can't just take that to be Bible and go through our lives like that. You have to be able to adapt and change and learn constantly to become the better person for you and the relationships that you have in life. And in the car earlier, I kept saying, Coach Shells, Coach Shells, Coach Shells. So I don't know what the show is going to be called. I don't know about any of this. And I know I've been missing it because life has been on my back. But I am here, positive, still smiling, and I'm glad to be here today. But when it does happen for you, Chels, I'm going to be so excited and happy, and I'm going to be right there. So I just want to say that.
It's happening right. It's happening right in front of your very.
Oh, I know it is. I definitely. I'm like, I'm getting laughed like the train is leaving me, and
This is it. Real quick, before you go again, Julie. You know what I'm saying? I was who was I talking to? I think I was talking to huh? Say what? You good? Okay. I think I was talking to Lil, and I was saying like there's when you do something like this, there's a tendency to look at whatever you consider to be the end, right? Or the successful moment, right? But the successful moment is happening like every single day, every single moment. One, because we don't know what tomorrow brings, and two, because doing this is what is the catalyst for the very next moment. So if I don't know, I'm not really seeking out a production deal or anything like that. I'm doing something that I enjoy. And because I do it, they may come. And if they come, that's cool. And if they don't, we can keep it rocking right here. Julie Bean, what you got?
And if they come, I just want a front row seat. 1, 2, 3, Dr. Hawk, Dr. J. We need about 10 seats in the front row for your show.
Man, y'all gonna be on the team. Y'all supposed to be on the panel with me. Y'all see, man, look, man, see this my life lesson. This what they gonna do to you, Chels. They gonna say, well, we'll be over here in the front row, Chels. You go on up there on the stage and do but I guess for me in closing, in terms of your parents' relationship affecting yours, I agree with what everyone has said. I thought Keisha made a really good point in being able to pick apart, part and parcel, or whatever the word is, the good things, take those things with you. The things that you dislike, keep those in mind, right? You may be able to take something that's negative about your parents' relationship and transmute it into something positive within yours. If your parents aren't good at communicating, you may read books on communication, you know what I'm saying? And one last thing is, as you get older, be willing to ask your parents their perspectives on different things. Ask them why were things the way they were back then. Ask them why they stayed or why they left, and how it affected them moving forward, and would they go back and do anything different. All of these things are very important because, like Nikki said, you can be one of your parents and have never met them before. But once you talk to them, or you get to know them, it'll help you understand who you are. And self-awareness is the key to enlightenment, right? So there's that. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. It's been real. I'm glad I'm back to see y'all again because it was a long 4 days. We are all going to pray for our good friend Dr. J.
Dr. J.
Right? We're going to pray for Dr. J. Pray for Dr. J. Pray for Dr. J. And patreon.com/IamChellsX, IamChellsXstore.com. And when you start thinking about getting a life coach, who you going to hit up? You're going to call your boy. Chels, take your power back, baby. Peace. What you doing, Julie? What that mean?
I was pointing at you.
Oh, you got to go like this.
No, you're over there on my screen.
Oh, you don't have to screen on the screen recording. You would have to go this way, I guess. I don't know. All right, y'all, be good. Peace.
I don't know. Bye.
Later.